wanted to talk to you guys about something. You know, my mom and dad are pastors. And then I've got 4 sisters. And out of all of these sisters, one sister, which is me, came into the knowledge that the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, is God's law. And I am doing that for about 20 years now. If I count from the very get-go, when I started searching it, there wasn't a Google back then that I could put how to keep God's law. There was just the Bible, and there was my relationship with the Lord. There wasn't many preachers that were doing it. I think there was John Garr, there was Dwight Pryor, there was Roy Bivens, there was barely First Fruits of Zion. They didn't have Tour Club back then. There was just not a plethora of it yet back then. And the reason why I went back to God's law is because I had been born a Christian, and I still didn't understand who Jesus was reading the Bible for myself. Because when I would read the scriptures, and I'm going to refer to the Old Testament as the Hebrew Bible, because that's exactly what it is. The scriptures, the Hebrew Bible, it wouldn't make sense with the Greek Bible, the New Testament, because it would seem that the Hebrew Bible was just full of murder and polygamy and blood and sweat and tears and gross and a lot of idolatry, and just like, what the heck is wrong with Israel? Like, it was like the story, Israel sinned, Israel committed idolatry, God got mad, God wiped him out. God came back and loved Israel again, and then Israel got into idolatry, raised up a king, and Israel sinned, and it was over and over and over, right? Then you get into New Testament, and it seems like Jesus was like this really nice God that was trying to introduce a new God, but still wanted Israel still after all that. And it didn't match what I was taught as a kid. So I had questions. And when I would go to my teachers and preachers and people that I knew in the church, they would say, oh, the law's been done away with. And I go, but it says in Matthew 5 that until heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or tittle shall go away until all is accomplished. Well, that hasn't happened yet, so this law still applies. And they go, no, it's the new covenant. It's been written upon your heart. And I'm like, but if it's the new covenant and it's written upon our heart, then we would be doing God's law and the works of the law, not the works of the Rome, because we're doing the works of Rome. And they would get so mad at me. And all I was doing was asking questions. I wasn't questioning their authority. I wasn't questioning like they're doing it wrong or anything. I was just questioning, like, I don't understand these scriptures. So I went home crying. Because this pastor, not my dad, but this pastor got really angry with me. And I went to my husband and I said, honey, I need some answers. I can't read this Bible anymore. I can't understand it. I mean, and he said, well, I got some questions for you that you can, because I don't understand it either. And he started asking me questions, like, how was Abraham saved? How was King David saved? How were all the people saved? Are they in hell because Jesus wasn't there? And I'm like, I don't know. So I prayed, will the real Jesus please stand up? Because I don't get your word. It's not making any sense to me. This doctrine doesn't make any sense to me. I need you to show me who you are. I really want to know who you are for myself. And then he did. He showed me his ways. It was like he took me back to the Garden of Eden, and he showed me his fruit. And he said, well, look at this. And I was like, wow. And the Bible came to life to me. For the first time in my life, I understood the story. And so 20 years has gone by, and I have never been so persecuted by Christian people for my beliefs. And it's the saddest thing. And I have been asking the Lord, why is that, Lord? I mean, I used to be the same way. I believed the same way. I was Sunday church, did all of the things. And you couldn't pull the pork and the shrimp away from me for nothing. Until I realized that God's laws is still applicable for, I can't say that word, applicable for our lives today. God didn't change his mind. We conformed to our culture is what we did. We did the same thing that Israel did back in the day. They adapted to their cultural surroundings. And they said it was holy when it wasn't. And it doesn't matter what we think. It matters what is written. It doesn't matter your belief system. It matters what is written in that Bible. It matters what God says. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not change. It doesn't matter if the preachers have a wonderful sermon and he twists it around and they say we're in the new covenant, we don't have to keep the laws of God. And Paul sounds good. He said, yeah, you don't have to keep that law. You have to understand that Paul was talking about man-made traditions, just like Christians have traditions. You know, you are saved if you are not saved if you don't speak in tongues. You're not saved if you don't get baptized. Oh, if you don't wear your hair up in a bun, the Pentecostals, you're sinning. If you don't have your head covering in some Hebrew circles, you're unmodest. It's the same stuff over and over and over. You're saved through the blood of Messiah, period. It's a free gift. But how you know that you are a bride of Messiah is that you obey his commands. You do what he tells you to do. You obey. You want to obey him. Okay? Paul is talking about the heart of a person who wants to obey the commands. And he had to deal with a lot of the Gentiles and the Jews arguing about conversion to Judaism. Judaism wasn't even a thing yet, because it happens after Second Temple. But Paul was talking about the circumcision. You had to become a Jew to be in the family of God. And Paul was arguing against that. It's in all of his letters. Not one time did Paul say, you don't have to keep the law of God anymore. Church, I'm just telling you that we have stepped into the land of being assimilated into a culture. Pork is available on the shelf, shrimp is available on the shelf, but I guarantee you, if rat is available on the shelf and camel and dog and cat is available on that shelf, are you going to eat it with barbecue sauce on it? I think not. It's the same category, okay? Sabbath, Saturday, is not available. Sunday, however, is in our laws that is the Sabbath day. The biblical feast days are not available on our calendar. It's not available in our workforce, but it is in the land of Israel. All right? So it's not that easy to keep his commandments in the land of America. But that's what it means to be set apart. And God honors that. So pray about it. It's time, guys. It's time to open your eyes to the wonderful things of his Torah.